Saturday's game, I mean, you kind of had the double-digit lead. What kind of transpired there in the second half?
Well, we put together little clips called The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly. If you remember that movie from the 60s, old Clint Eastwood. But there's good, bad. There's always going to be some bad plays in the game, whether it's turnovers. And then the ugly was just, you cannot give up touchdowns on special teams plays. Giving up one is hard enough to try to win on the road. When you give up two and then you have three turnovers on top of that, there's some great good plays in there though. The goal line stand, the block kick, the touchdown, before half, so we just, second half got out coached. They outplayed us. They jumped into, strictly cover zero and came after us and was going to stop the run game and make us pass, which, I thought we passed better than we have all season. 9 different receivers, caught the football for us. But, those turnovers and those special team touchdowns, those are hard to overcome.
The special teams touchdowns is, when you watch film, was there just, were there several errors or just one or two where a guy's out of place, doesn't hold his lane or whatever the case may be?
Yeah, probably, variation of both those things. First it was a tight punt. When we're coming out, we haven't had too many opportunities for a tight punt, and you're kicking on the left hash, and we're kicking it to the right hash. So it wasn't a far punt at all. It was, probably he caught it at the 35-yard line, and then it's just, we call it the net, and you can't be chasing your own color. We got to spread the field out. We got to take our shot when he catches it, and and again, it's coaching. If I always tell our coaches, it's never the player's fault. So we're not taking a shot and we're allowing a vertical return, then we got to coach it better. But we allowed him to get vertical, and then he took it to the field, and it was over from that standpoint. And the kickoff, that really put it just made it a mountain to climb, just because you come out of half, you score right before half, and I thought coming off the football field at halftime, we had this team. I watched them walk in the locker room. We're right behind them. And I felt if we come out in the third quarter and get 7 points on them, we got three, and I still felt that we had momentum in our back pocket. And then you give up a score on that kickoff, deflating. And, we got to rally behind that. But again, you're not going to walk in on the road, make those type of mistakes or errors and try to win football games. So as a coach, you can put that on my shoulders, and we got to do a better job coaching.
Like, how did you guys handle what you talked last week about road focus and playing at 8 o'clock this week? Obviously, it's an afternoon game, so it won't be as long of a wait. But how did you guys handle the road focus?
I thought great. I thought we were ready to play. I thought we came out. We gave up that long. Our defense played phenomenal. We gave up the one touchdown in the 2-minute offense. That was the first time they scored on our defense, and then our offense answers it. We even gained one because they missed the extra point. We made it. We gained one there, and then the defense played great in the third quarter, fourth quarter, and when you go through the game, there's 7 minutes 35 seconds left in the game, and we got the lead, and we go out on first down and throw an interception. So, for me, it's like, as coaches, they were going to try to stop the run, but we got to find ways to attack, blitzes. We got to attack, zero coverage. When I say zero coverage, there's no one free. They're manned up, and we got to be able to get first downs. We talked about that. South Dakota State being able to get first downs when you have the lead. We're able to do that against South Dakota. 7 minutes left, we weren't. And then we turned the ball over, and that's when they scored and took the lead. So, again, those are hard learning experiences, but they're experience we got to learn from. We got to learn that you can't make mistakes like that on the road. But I'm never going to use the excuse that we played at night or it was on the road or it's a tough environment. Guess what? We prepare, we work all week. We got to be ready to play football. If our boys aren't ready to play football, I'm looking more in the mirror of what I can do better as a coach. Mark always, would be the first one to say sorry. Said you never apologize. Mark played hard. He made great plays for us. I mean, you look when we got the touchdown there. He split in defenders. We got that first, that touchdown before half. So, he plays hard. He plays with great effort. You're going to have mistakes in a football game. The turnovers in that football game didn't lose us the game as much as our defense only gave up 13 points. And defensively, giving up 13 points, you're going to win a lot of football games. Where we got to clean up is more on special teams, and that's what I'll tell our quarterbacks. You're always going to have mistakes. I told you guys, everyone wants forward passes and passes downfield, and I told you the more you do it, the more opportunities there are going to be interceptions too. And, Mark was 20 of 28. He was able to find 9 different receivers, something we haven't done that all year, and we threw for the most yards. But when you're throwing the ball downfield, we're going to grow, we're going to learn from it, but mistakes can happen, and we got to clean those mistakes up. And that may be more repetition, us sitting down and being better teachers in the classroom and being better teachers on the field, so that we got to put our players in the best situation to be successful. That's what our jobs are, and I'm always going to put that on our shoulders and not the players. Players give us great effort and attitude. It's our job to put them in a situation to be successful.
Talking to Vinny earlier, he says these last 2 weeks he's been trying to treat them like the playoffs and get that momentum heading into very short off season. That kind of the goal being not.
Yeah, we talked about finish, earlier this morning. Just in what I mean by finish, if we want to get back to championship caliber football, playoff caliber football, it's how you play at the end of April, but in the football season, how you play at the end of October going into November. So, we always talk about finishing, whether it's finishing a football game, it's finishing a season, it's finishing a practice, it's finishing a play. I think that's got to be the focus. And we're playing 2 very good teams. I mean, Missouri State's a very talented football team that went through their bumps. They had a little advantage by playing 3 games in the fall where they had no success, but they were able to practice and learn more about that team. Imagine, what we looked like game 1 to game 4. It was a difference. And they were able to have that in the fall, and they came out for the winter season, and you could see the improvements, the necessary improvements that they've made. And that's why right now they're sitting at 4-1.
What do they bring? You mentioned the 3 games in the fall. I mean, spring, 4-1, a team that was predicted to go last in the conference, whatever that means. I mean, are they the surprise?
Oh, without question. I think Coach Petrini has done a great job. I mean, he's done a great job wherever he's been, whether it's at Louisville in his first stint or with Heisman Trophy winner with Lamar or even at Arkansas. So they've done a great job. And they really, there's a couple players on their team. Defensive end Kevin Ellis is, leading sack getter. They got a great safeties in Titus Wall. And those guys were there when he got there. So he inherited those players that have been at Missouri State, and they're very good football players. Then he went out, found out probably what his needs were, and was able to bring in some transfers that fit the needs that they're looking for. Right now they're playing with 2 different corners that weren't playing in the fall, but they played the fall, probably realized, okay, we got to go out and get these 2 guys. And if we get, it's like free agency. And they put together a great roster that believe in what they're doing, and they're playing great football.
And you said a game's not perfect. Are the mistakes that you saw, those are all correctable in the final 2 weeks?
It is. And again, it makes you reflect even, okay, what can we do better? What can I do better as a coach that, whether it's coverage, whether it's the drills that we do in practice, the emphasis, how we set up our meetings. It's been a whole different ball game during this COVID, but it makes you reflect, geez, what could I have done a little bit better? So when I say those go on the shoulders, it starts right here at the top. And, I tell our young men every time, we're going to get back to work. We're going to find ways, and We're going to try to eliminate those mistakes. We're going to work on it during this week in practice. And, it was something that hasn't showed up, but, maybe it's a blessing that it does, and maybe we can get it corrected so that it doesn't happen again in the last 2 games or the fall.
What's it take in your eyes to kind of get that consistency from a team that week in and week out, you know what you're going to get from different areas? Is that something that's kind of a broad question, kind of hard to
Yeah, that's complimentary football. That's where I thought, again, I came off that field at halftime. It was a tale of 2 halves. We were able to rush the football in the first half. Our defense was playing great. We had a mistake on special teams, but we overcame it. Went into the halftime with the lead, come out in the third quarter, and it's a mountain when you make those type of mistakes. It's a mountain to climb. It's hard to win when you make those mistakes, but I felt at points we're playing great complementary football there. And then let's give them credit a little bit. They switched up what they were doing, and they went all in on, we're not going to let you run the football on us, and you're going to have to pass the ball downfield. And that's where, as coaches, we got to have answers for. That's where, you got to see or foresee, what adjustments teams may make, and then we got to have answers for it. And we didn't have the right answers for it that put our players in the position to be successful. So, when I say that's something that's on our plate, that's our fault.
I was going to say, you talked about how kind of the learning experience for the guys. How much of a learning experience is it for you and your staff when you go through those kind of games and kind of realize what you need to do differently?
Well, I think this has been a blessing just because, this first year our staff's working together. We got young coaches, we got some older coaches, and, just the communication, figuring all that stuff out. And, again, I think we're constant learners. We're not, as a program, we're not anywhere near where we need to be. We know that, even in coaching and in development. And, we got to continue to do, we got to improve every week, just like players improve every week. And, it's not the lack of work ethic. It's not, we're going to give every effort we can. But you got to go through games like this. I always say the journey is that destination. Well, journeys aren't always going to be, easy, not always going to be. I mean, I can look at my time spent, whether it was a high school head coach early on, or maybe at Iowa State or at Cincinnati. I get those text messages from your former, coaches say, hey, just remember where we were, because it's growing pains. I wish I could snap a finger. I have a magic wand and you can fix all, but you can't. It's a journey. You learn from it. You get better. You get back on the field like we did today, and you have a great practice.
Western announced last night they were kind of opting out for the rest of the season. I know that's the second team now. Did they show any signs of that Saturday, or were they beat up or anything?
None, not that I have known. I talked to the coach before the game, and I got a former player that's on staff there, and had no inkling that was something that they were going to do after this game. And again, people got to make decisions. But when I was talking to our team today after practice, we even brought it up. But I still think there's a time for training and there's a time to play football. The only way you get better at football is by playing football. Our defense is better than it was last week by playing this football game. Our offense in this game, we might have made mistakes, but our offense is a lot better than it was 4 weeks ago. So for me, it's just that if you want to be good at football, you got to play football. And then there's time and place during the season or during the year where you got to get in the weight room and get big and strong. But right now, us being able to walk out on that practice field, to play games on Saturdays, is only taking us where we need to go for the future.
You think it's at a point where they need to reevaluate whether to have the playoffs, or do you think they should keep going with kind of the plan they had in place?
I say you keep going with the plan that you have in place. You know, that was something that we discussed before the season. We've all had to make adjustments and adapt. I made adjustments and adapted today in practice. I mean, every week there's something, a new curveball thrown out. You might not have this position practicing today, or you might not have this player practicing today. And you know, our whole thought process was we adjust, we adapt, we execute, and find a way to be successful. So I think we need to continue that way.